We are back, and the Ohio State Buckeyes played a game against the Arkansas State Red Wolves. This was expected to be a blowout, and that's pretty much what happened. I mean, as soon as the first drive for Arkansas State was a 3-and-out, and the first drive for Ohio State was a 42-yard touchdown throw to Marvin Harrison Jr., you kind of knew what was going to happen throughout this game. It was pretty much mostly Ohio State dominated. I am going to get into some like little nitpicky concerns and nitpicky, just I'm nitpicking any of the issues with Ohio State because that's kind of what you have to do with these games. Obviously when you blow out an opponent in a game, then it's really nice to see the team you root for do that. But there are some things that were a little bit concerning, especially in the first half. The second half, I really have no complaints. They really seem to fine-tune their game. Most notably were the penalties in the first half. There were a couple of neutral zone infractions from the defense, a little bit of undisciplined play early on. Maybe that's just a product of, we're playing Arkansas State, so, if we're not as, maybe not being as focused as you could possibly be. But that seemed to go away most of the second half. Also, the Red Wolves getting field goals, again, for a team that, you should probably rout by a bunch. Seeing them get consecutive field goal drives was a little bit concerning, but again, you can't be absolutely perfect. Who was it on the Champ Flemings? Yes, Champ Flemings for Arkansas State had himself a pretty good game. Again, Arkansas State didn't find the end zone for the entire game, but Champ Flemings did do a good bit to the Buckeye defense. Maybe he can be a game changer, whatever conference Arkansas State is in. But he had himself a good showing against the Buckeyes, so I guess good for him. But yeah, the game is really all about C.J. Stroud and the receivers finding a groove, even with Julian Fleming and Jackson Smith and Jigba both out. And really, I mean, everybody on the offense was getting involved. Travion Henderson and Maya Williams having a good game as always. Marvin Harrison Jr., who I mentioned had the 50-yard touchdown catch earlier, he ended up with 3 total touchdown catches, so he went off today. C.J. Stroud hitting his 50th career touchdown already with the Buckeyes. He's probably only going to be here for this year anyway, so, good for him to hit 50 before he turns to the NFL. I could do like a chronological rundown of what happened in the game, but I feel like getting into the nitty-gritty details isn't really necessary on a video like this because and eventually it just ends up to the big team beat the small team eventually, and the final score ended up being 45-12. The Arkansas State once again getting all of their points through field goals. Some standouts on defense. Tommy Eichenberg once again with a tremendous performance. Mike Hall had at least 1 sack. One of them was on a 4th down, so that was really clutch of him. Later in the game, Caden Curry had a pretty nice defensive drive. And then once again, especially once all the backups were in for cleanup duty, I kind of just stopped taking detailed notes because at that point it's just ride the game out and tried to escape the game with no injuries. And Mike Hall, I think he did have a bit of an injury scare, but I think he was fine. I'm pretty sure I would have seen a lot more hubbub about it if Mike Hall went down with a serious injury or anything, but it seems that Mike Hall will be fine, and if there's any question about his availability next week against Toledo, then I'm guessing he will sit that game out. And that's kind of what, similar to this week, next week is going to be against the Toledo Rockets. Once again, that's a game that you should roll. I was surprised that C.J. Stroud got any fourth quarter minutes in this game, and once again, I will be surprised if C.J. Stroud sees the field in the fourth quarter against Toledo. But, it did get the offense a little bit of time to get going. I know it sounds a little bit facetious, but like only 24 points in the first half. But you feel like the Buckeye offense could have done more in the first half. And in the second half, they pretty much did what they had to do. They had 21 points in just like that. So, yeah, basically what you would expect. Marvin Harrison Jr. and C.J. Stroud already seem to have a really good connection. So that's really great, especially with if there's uncertainties around Jackson Smith and Jigba and Julian Fleming in the future, then you know that C.J. Stroud has at least one guy, and Egbuka was great too. So you have at least 2 stalwarts at wide receiver. Also, Cade Stover at tight end just looks like a beast. It's too bad that the tight ends in this system aren't really prioritized as highly, because the Buckeyes have had some really good tight ends the last few years, but they just are hardly ever showcased on the field, which is unfortunate. But yeah, Cade Stover also looks like just a beast, just dominant whenever he has his hands on the ball. So let me know what you think down in the comments below. I know for Ohio State it's going to be it was kind of a boring game from like a competitive standpoint. It's going to probably be the same way next week. But leave a like and a subscribe if you enjoyed the video and you'd like to see more. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you at the next one.